Once upon a time, Bipsy Amirian and Mickey Wagstaff were making beautiful music together.
She wanted to start a family.
She talked about it, she wrote a song about it.
He lavished her with attention. All people kind of like that, don't they?
But their duet quickly becomes a swan song.
They didn't approve of the relationship.
The tiger in her just kind of came out.
And I started to cry my heart was crushed.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. It's just weeks before 27-year-old Bipsy Amirian's big day in Temecula, California. She's ready to show her mother the wedding dress she's crafting from other dresses she bought online. Bipsy is an artist, an idealist, a hopeless romantic with a deep spiritual faith. And she wants nothing more than to settle down.
She was ready. She wanted to have a family, the happy marriage with the children and everything, and a good man.
Look at this. Look at that.
I think Bipsy had always wanted the little white house and the picket fence. She had that ideal, and that's what she wanted.
Thanks, Mom. Marriage for Bipsy was finally stability and structure. And taking a patchwork quilt of wedding dresses and putting it together into something traditional was what she was doing with her wedding. Yeah, absolutely.
And she's finally found the dream man for her dream life, 25-year-old Mickey Wagstaff.
Which one do you like?
He just seemed like a nice kid, you know, very, very polite. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, clean cut, that type of thing. He was definitely doing everything, you know, to woo her.
She is just smitten with him. He's a solid, God-fearing man with a great job at a restaurant supply chain that requires him to travel often.
She thought he was kind of a jet setter, and that was going to be cool. You know, the traveling, and she could travel with him.
But the day after Bipsy models her wedding dress, she's suddenly nowhere to be found.
Okay, give me a call.
Her mother's calls go unanswered, but this isn't unusual.
It went straight to her voicemail, which happens a lot with kids. Their batteries die, so I didn't think anything of it. I figured I'll call her later.
What Bipsy's mom and stepfather don't know is that her fiancé has also vanished suddenly. And unlike Bipsy's mom, his boss believes something's wrong. The day before, Mickey had been acting strangely. He looked scared and worried. Odd behavior for a typically laid-back guy. He normally checks with his boss before he leaves work, but that day he took off abruptly, missing an important meeting.
This was the dependable guy who was always on time, who loved structure, who respected authority. So for him to defy that authority and that structure in such a big way and so abruptly, huge red flag.
Is he okay? And Bipsy? Would she really disappear? Just as she's starting a new life with Mickey and leaving her dark past behind her? The bride-to-be grows up with a sister and two brothers, while the children and their mother share a close relationship. They live in fear of a fanatical father.
Our dad was very strict. He would beat us, he was very abusive growing up, and we kind of thought that was normal as kids.
He controls every aspect of his family's lives.
And so I never could drive or go outside the house, and neither could they.
I'm disappointed in all of you.
The children, we were basically locked up in the house, you know, day after day.
Bring your hands
He
together.
gloats about cheating on his wife
Let's pray.
and threatens to kill her if she dares to leave. all the while insisting that his family turn to God for redemption. Afraid he'll harm the kids if she tries to escape, Cheryl stays with him.
Dire need of your praise and grace.
He always called himself a man of God, but he didn't live like a Christian. He just lived as this controlling tyrant.
As we prepare to eat this food, praying like that'll get you a ticket to hell. All of you, get up to bed.
Here he is calling himself one, and yet he's this mean, controlling abuser. You know, who beats and who philanders and cheats.
Hey, come on. Cheer up, it's fine.
Virtually imprisoned, young Bipsy finds solace in music.
Bipsy was very outgoing, especially with her piano. I mean, it seemed like if there was a piano anywhere, she was just banging on it.
She tries her best to keep things positive, but they're living in hell. When Bipsy is 12, her mother finally musters the courage to divorce. She takes the kids with her. But instead of a happy ending, once free, Bipsy spirals downhill, tumbling into a world of drugs, sex, and booze. Desperate to find some sense of power somewhere, the abused teen turns as far as possible from the conventional religion of her father. She dabbles in the occult.
She was trying to do spells and things and trying to do superstitious stuff and trying to get power and just trying to feel in control of the situation.
But control is elusive. The troubled teen eventually tries suicide, twice.
She was hell-bent on destroying herself.
Afraid Bipsy might succeed in the next attempt, her desperate mom sends her to a church camp.
And I thought, well, maybe something good will happen to her there. So I told her she was going, and she was like, I am not going to this camp. You can't make me. If you make me, I'll hate you forever. And I said, well, you have to go. I'm making you go.
The camp is the worst thing Bipsy can imagine, at first. But over time, she experiences a spiritual awakening.
She just felt like God was calling to her to stop running and that God had kept her alive up to that point and hadn't let her kill herself. Just got on her knees and gave her life to the Lord.
From that moment on, she begins to customize her own unique blend of faith, which she fine-tunes as an adult. She reads widely about different religions, choosing pieces from each that speak to her.
Bipsy, I can tell you, wouldn't let any pastor tell her what the truth is. And she was putting together her own view of reality and building, in a sense, her own religion.
She also crafts her own eclectic style, getting bold tattoos that include symbols from Judaism and Christianity, a mosaic that symbolizes her customized spirituality. The free-thinking indie chick becomes the talk of her small town.
It would be easy to say that Bipsy became this creative, free spirit because her biological father had been so controlling and the boundaries were so strict. But I would say she was born an artist. This is who she was. She was a singer, she was a sewer, she had tattoos, she loved art. She was a natural artist.
She throws herself into her music, writing songs for a CD she wants to release. It's going well, but the same can't be said for her love life. In 2006, she's fresh off a relationship that ended in a disturbing way.
She wanted to break up with him, and he didn't want to break up with her. And he started stalking her.
With an obsessed ex, she's gun-shy now, but she still dreams of love.
She wanted to be married to somebody special. She talked about it, she wrote a song about it.
Though she doesn't know him yet, Mickey Wagstaff is living in the neighboring town of Paula, California. He's structured and solid, raised in a strict church.
He was always at his church. He was homeschooled. His parents raised him up to be a good religious kid.
Do this in remembrance of me.
He's a youth leader committed to helping kids. He also volunteers at soup kitchens and for mission trips. He wants to make the world a better place.
Amen. Now the Lord.
In the Seventh-day Adventist church he attends, Mickey is taught to be wary of flashy things like tattoos and jewelry, and anything but simple, modest clothing and a quiet, humble life. But he's also a red-blooded American kid, handsome, funny, and smart. So he recognizes a pretty girl when he sees one. In summer 2007, Mickey and his twin brother catch Bipsy performing at a coffee shop in town. He's immediately wowed by the cute Bohemian singer. She's mesmerizing.
Nowadays, you know, everything is computer generated, it's tweaked. A lot of it's a sham. But she was the real deal.
She's cute, eh? You should totally ask her out.
Nah, I couldn't do that, man.
She goes against everything Mickey's been taught. So unlike what his family and church tell him to seek in a mate. But he can't take his eyes off of her.
She was very gifted, very captivating when she performed. He was very enamored of that.
Hey. Bye.
He convinces his brother to be his wingman and approaches, something he never does.
Good.
Good.
You were amazing.
What's your name?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm Mickey.
And they were hanging around, being groupies.
You were amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
They talked about how much they loved her and loved her music, and it seems as though they hit it off really well.
It's the first moment that will lead to love. But now, just a month before Bipsy and Mickey are set to walk down the aisle, the couple has vanished. What could have gone so wrong only weeks before what should be the happiest day of their lives? Had they decided to flee their past and elope to start a new life together? Or had Bipsy's stalker ex-boyfriend gone too far and split apart those who God was about to join together?
I like the big one.
Big one?
Yeah.
Let's get the big one then.
As Bipsy Amirian and Mickey Wagstaff prepare for their upcoming wedding, the couple disappears without a trace. Mickey's boss is concerned. The young man is always so dependable. But that day, he seemed scared, then left work without telling anyone, skipping an important meeting. Something serious must be happening. Bipsy's mother and stepfather aren't worried. It's only been a day since Cheryl saw Bipsy showing off her wedding dress.
Okay, honey, give me a call when you get this. I love you.
Then I tried again calling her the next day in the morning, and I didn't get her either. No big deal because her phone would always die.
After all, Bipsy's an adult and doesn't need to check in every day. But her mom has been afraid in the past. Especially 2 years before, when Bipsy briefly dates a guy named Kurt Coppell. Turns out Kurt's not her type, so she breaks up with him. But Kurt won't let her go. He's just like her abusive and controlling father.
He started saying all these crazy things, like, you belong to me, you know, we've been together, you're mine forever, and just scaring her, stalking her and scaring her.
He would just not let up. Just trying to get a hold of Bipsy quite often and was emailing her obsessively.
The obsession gets progressively more intense.
The things he would say really frightened Bipsy and haunted her.
Finally, he steps over the line.
He was threatened to kill her. She finally got a restraining order.
She will not allow a man like her father to control her. She knows her ex is out there, watching her, but there's nothing else she can legally do. Scared and disenchanted, Bipsy takes a break from men to focus on her music. She's not looking for love when Mickey and his twin brother approach her.
Good.
Good. Have you been here before?
No.
But Mickey falls hard for her.
Go. Have a good day.
You too.
And despite what he knows his family and church friends will say, he steps up his game.
Hey, Bipsy.
Hi, Mickey.
How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. I was wondering if maybe you wanted to go out sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome.
He lavished her with attention. I mean, I think all people kind of like that, don't they?
Well, I got something for you when I was out.
What?
It's a kindness she's not used to,
Oh.
from her father or her ex.
But she likes all the flattery, the roses, wine, and song, you know. He was doing that to the hilt.
To Bipsy, a boyfriend isn't just about a life partner, to have a baby, to build a house. She's been a little unstable on the wild seas since her, domineering dad was out of the picture. So a boyfriend to her also represented structure, and structure feels safe to her.
Bipsy suddenly has a new song in her heart.
She would always say glowing things about him. She seemed to be, in love, and she seemed to be really happy.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Passion grows in the young lovers' hearts. But despite Bipsy's free-spirited nature, her faith is just as devout as Mickey's. And they agree to save themselves for marriage.
Wait. We can't do this now. Gotta wait.
You're right.
It's not easy, but it's worth it. After dating just over a year, they decide it's forever. Mickey, always traditional, wants to ask Bipsy's mother and stepfather for their blessing.
Can I talk to you for a second?
He came to the house and he stated his intentions very formally. And he said that, I would like to marry your daughter.
I'm in love with her. I love spending time with her. I want to spend the rest of my life with her.
But Bipsy's stepfather is just not convinced.
And I said, well, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I said, I want my wife here so that we can all discuss and just see where this thing goes.
See, you need to talk to her mom. I mean, I'm her stepdad, and I'll be happy to sit with you.
I said, you call my wife, set up a time that's good for all of us, and we'll talk about it.
Mickey comes away without the family's approval. He never sets up the second meeting. In his mind, God's blessing is all he needs. 4 months later, on Christmas Eve, Mickey makes a surprise move.
Whoa. Mickey, what's going on?
Bipsy, will you marry me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
This has been her dream.
She wanted to start a family. She always wanted love, and she was just a really loving person.
And now she's got it forever. But then, she and Mickey just vanish. 2 days pass with no word from either of them. Although they have no specific information to contact police with, friends do worry if Bipsy's stalker ex, Kurt Capel, might be back. Had the thought of Bipsy making music with another man driven her jealous ex over the edge?
Last time I saw Bipsy, I ran into her at the mall, and she was showing me a pepper spray can that Mickey had given to her for self-defense, just in case.
Could the stalker have snatched the songstress and harmed her future husband? In Temecula, California, Mickey Wagstaff and his bride-to-be, Bipsy Amirian, had been missing for 2 days. No one has enough information to call police with yet. But friends begin to wonder, is Bipsy's jealous ex involved? Bipsy had always wanted the perfect wedding. She'd longed for it forever. As the big day draws close, she buys a designer wedding gown online and starts to customize it.
She was making a dress out of dresses. She just like cut and pieced different dresses together into one dress that was going to be perfect.
Like her tattoos, it's a physical manifestation of her distinctive style. She also plans to sing one of her own songs, titled Beautiful, at the ceremony. She's so excited about the wedding, though it does mean some changes. She doesn't share all of her fiancé's strict fundamentalist views. She's pieced together her own faith, but it's a strong one, and she worships God with gusto.
Even though she was free-spirited, what defined who she was she loved God, and she would not ever go against, his word. She was very committed as a Christian, and so I think she saw how committed he was.
Despite her fiercely independent nature, Bipsy's determined to make the marriage work, even if it means changing to please Mickey. Since the Seventh-day Adventist Church has rigid beliefs, she begins dressing more conservatively and covering her beloved tattoos.
She was just trying to look like the all-American girl for him, I guess.
But Mickey's parents don't share the couple's excitement. Although Bipsy's always nice to them, they see her as far too rebellious. Congregants in Mickey's fundamentalist church agree. She just doesn't fit in.
After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven.
They require members to live quiet lives, make all their entertainment Christian-based, and steer clear of anything but the most modest clothing. Mickey fits the bill. His tattooed fiancé, not so much.
It is a very strict religion, and he was expected to abide by the rules and the regulations of the church. He was very fanatical about religion. Fanatical.
Bipsy wants so badly to have a husband, she tries her best to immerse herself in Mickey's world.
And she would say, yeah, I know that the church that we're going to is a little weird, but they're really nice, and I know it seems like, okay, I don't believe with everything that they say, but they're good people, and I can still make this work.
But not everyone in the congregation accepts her. And her inquisitive nature gets her in trouble. At one church gathering, she asks one question too many.
I'm not so sure.
You're not so sure about what?
About your sermon. The message that you're trying to...
And what did you have a problem with?
Well, it's confusing how many rules that you have to have just to get into heaven. I don't understand.
Bipsy's willing to compromise, but she's not going to lose her voice. So when she goes to his church, she's going to ask questions, because that's who she is.
She had finally said something challenging what they believed in.
Why do you have to fear this so much just coming from your...
You can leave now.
Pastor, she didn't mean anything by it. Out.
No.
Pastor.
And they pretty much told Mickey, well, you stop seeing her and don't have anything else to do with this girl. And so he said, no, I still want to.
Mickey refuses to allow the church to come between him and his true love.
Mickey was attracted to Bipsy because she was everything he couldn't be. She was the free spirit. She was the creative person. She was the one unafraid to question some of the teachings of his religion. This was something he wanted to be, and he was very attracted to that.
When he won't leave Bipsy, the church tells him he's no longer welcome. It gets worse when he tells his parents.
They didn't approve of the relationship, and so they had, I guess you would call it a farewell dinner.
And if you think you can stay under this house and bring her into it, and that we are going to allow it, you are wrong.
In which they told him, you know, if you're going to continue to go down this path, we're not going to be a part of it.
His parents disown him and kick him out of the house. It's incredibly painful for everyone.
This is where the conflict comes with Mickey. I mean, religion was important, family support was so important. Where does that put him and his beliefs and who he is? It's a scary place for Mickey to be.
Still, he's determined and committed to seeing the marriage through. But 1 month before they're to say I do, the couple is nowhere to be found. Had Bipsy's stalker ex-boyfriend derailed their dreams? Or had they simply decided to run from all the drama and elope?
I guess she told a friend, don't tell anybody, but we're going to leave the country. She had a brand new passport that she'd never used.
But the truth about this couple is far more sinister. It's been 2 days since anyone has seen Bipsy Amirian and her fiancé, Mickey Wagstaff. The wedding date is just a month away. Bipsy's customized dress is almost ready. She and Mickey have passports set for a secret honeymoon. But Bipsy has another secret she's been keeping. She's having doubts about Mickey. What Bipsy only shares with her journal is that as the wedding day nears, she's not sure she should do it.
As Bipsy said in her own writings, she said she was kind of split because she wrote, "Why do I have to settle for Prince Acceptable?" She said, I shouldn't have to do that.
She starts to realize she's been so focused on getting married and starting a family, she hasn't taken the time to make sure Mickey is Mr. Right.
It's not unusual at all. So many girls grow up with the fantasy that if they get married, everything will be okay. Bipsy's father ultimately rejected her. If she can get someone to the altar, it means she's lovable. Getting married is very important to Bipsy's psyche.
But now, she's starting to see another side to her fiancé.
I suspect they started fighting about the wedding and how to go about doing the wedding. And I think during those conversations, Bipsy might have realized that he had issues.
You're doing it wrong! It looks stupid! Why can't you just be normal?
He was controlling, that he was angry that maybe he wasn't somebody she wanted to spend the rest of her life with.
His anger and possessiveness reach a breaking point after he's kicked out of his church and his parents' house.
It changed the whole dynamic of his relationship with Bipsy. Because now there was a lot of pressure on Bipsy to be the be-all and end-all and everything for him as his primary attachment figure. So I'm sure he became even more obsessive.
So he felt like he gave up a lot for her so he could marry her, and that probably contributed to him feeling like he deserved, or some selfish thing, like he deserved to be with her because he gave up things for her.
As the big day nears, she's increasingly torn. Even as she shows the dress off to her mom, her doubts bubble to the surface.
She came over Monday to try on the dress, and she didn't seem happy.
Hey, hon, are you sure you want to do this?
It wasn't a true excitement, more like a feigned, manufactured type of excitement. You know, like going through the motions.
You know, it's not too late to call it off. Okay?
I know.
But the truth is, she's grown disillusioned, worried about Mickey's attempts to control her. He's becoming more and more like her father.
It was really hard to get a hold of her on the phone. You know, I wasn't seeing her alone at all. He would always be there kind of shadowing her, and that was only a few times because it was harder and harder to hang out with her.
He even forbids her from going to a family birthday party.
You know, sometimes the more hardcore, the more fundamentalist the religion, the more narrow thinking, the more that religion attracts people who have chaotic interiors. They're looking for boundaries, they're looking for structure. And that's clearly what was going on with Mickey.
And Bipsy is finally seeing it.
She realized and she was going along with what he was doing, but that wasn't what was in her heart and what she wanted, and I think that's what made her change her mind. And I think just the tiger in her just kind of came out.
She can no longer hide how she really feels. The day after showing off her dress, she calls Mickey and tells him they should rethink the wedding.
And she was not happy. She didn't come right out and say she was breaking up with him, but she said, you know, she didn't think that it was going to work.
Unwilling to let her go, Mickey convinces her to join him on an out-of-town sales call so they can talk.
And then he just took off. Against his boss's wishes, his boss had called him in for a conference. And instead of going in, he just took off to get Bipsy. I said, we're going on a trip.
Her going away had nothing at all to do with her stalker ex-boyfriend. Bipsy left on her own, trying to be decent about such a painful decision, and hoping she can better explain her reservations. But they don't get far. Mickey pulls into a parking garage nearby.
They started having a discussion about the wedding. It was Mickey's belief that she was dragging her feet, that she wasn't following through with the plans, you know, as he expected her to, in a timely fashion, as he expected her to.
I think maybe we should postpone things for a little bit so we can figure things out.
No, you're not leaving me. This is not ending.
It seems he still doesn't get it. She tries to explain. The wedding is not going to happen. They begin to argue.
I saved myself for you.
It gets heated. Seeing he's losing control, she tries to run.
You're not leaving me. What's wrong with you?
She was his everything. And, you know, at this point, he had pretty much given up his life for her. He, you know, was no longer communicating with his family. He had pulled himself away from the church. She was everything to him. And, you know, that's all he had in his life pretty much was her. And when he realized that this wasn't gonna happen anymore, it was all gone.
Please, not leaving me. What's wrong with you?
He refuses to let his fiancée go, literally holding her hostage in the van. It's an agonizing irony. The parking garage where Bipsy is being held is just blocks from her mother and stepfather's home. And they have no idea.
That just makes me sick because she was so nearby and I had no clue.
2 days after Bipsy vanishes, her mother's at a doctor's appointment when she's suddenly overcome with emotion. She has no way of knowing, but she somehow knows. Something is terribly wrong with her daughter.
Suddenly, I just felt so sad, and I don't know why. I just felt heartbroken, and I started to cry like my heart was crushed. And I don't know why. I thought, what am I crying for? You know, but I did.
48 hours after Mickey Wagstaff kidnaps his bride-to-be, Bipsy Amirian, a Temecula, California police officer is on routine patrol in the parking garage at an area mall.
He was just driving through the parking structure as he normally would and noticed that the van was parked away from other cars, which he thought was somewhat suspicious. As he continued driving past it, he thought he noticed some sort of movement. He was gonna walk up to the car just to see, you know, maybe there were some kids in there.
He has no idea the horror he's about to encounter. At first, there's no response. But then, a man with a knife.
He kind of turned and faced the officer and made a stabbing motion, as if he was going to come towards the officer.
Standard procedure is to call for backup.
He just kind of jumps back, he gets behind his patrol car, and he points a gun. I'd imagine in case this psycho with a knife is gonna pull out a gun or something, you never know. And a couple minutes later, another unit shows up. And they come up to inspect the car.
One has a taser ready. The van's locked. Inside is Mickey Wagstaff. Beneath him, his young fiancée, Bipsy.
They ordered the defendant out of the car, and he would not comply. He would not comply. I mean, they asked him time and time again, and he was just in a complete and utter daze. He wouldn't respond to them.
Drop the knife!
They taser him to subdue him. Then check Bipsy. She's dead.
There was blood everywhere, everywhere. I've never in my life seen the amount of blood that I saw that day. There was a mattress in the back of the car that Mickey had been living in and sleeping on, and it was soaked, completely soaked.
The medical examiner later determines she'd been stabbed 39 times. She was dead within seconds of the officer approaching.
No.
She had this expression on her face like she was totally betrayed. The expression was still on her face. She was just covered in stab wounds all over her, just everywhere.
Eerily, most of the wounds are centered around the unique religious tattoo on her back.
It meant everything to her. It was, significant of her relationship with God and her devotion to God. And, for him to destroy it in that way, to mutilate it in that way, knowing how much it meant to her. And at the same time, signifying his betrayal to her, stabbing her in the back that way.
It's a horrifying scene.
Her body was out on a sleeping bag, and the first thing that I noticed was just next to it was her van, and there was a bumper sticker, and it said, "Real men don't use violence." I felt sick. I instantly felt sick.
Once he recovers from the tasing, Mickey makes a full confession.
Mickey, no! Wait for the wedding tonight! Mickey, please! Mickey, please! No!
He tore her shirt, and he pinned her down, and he raped her. This person that she loved and she thought she knew, had taken it to the next level. He had become a monster.
Rape is a crime of power. It is not a crime of sex. It's not like, I've been aroused for so many years, now's the moment. It's only when he's losing her does he become sexually violent. It's, I will take you, I will own you, you will not get away from me.
It's gonna be okay, Bipsy. I love you.
No, no!
Please.
For 2 days, Bipsy watches as the man she thought she loved unravels.
He'd lost his family. He'd lost his church. He'd put everything on Bipsy.
Please, Jesus.
And now he was losing Bipsy.
Come over to her. Spread up her legs. Come on.
Okay. And what does she do? What's her movement now? So she's okay. So she's moving this way like that. Okay. And now does that leave you on top of her?
Yeah.
Is that when you start stabbing her?
I've already started.
I'm sorry, what?
I already started.
Oh.
Please.
Bipsy's family seeks the death penalty.
If I would have known then what I know now, when he came to my house, I'd have gotten a wood chipper, dropped him in the wood chipper, and he'd be fertilizing my roses right now, to be honest with you.
Was she all right?
God forgive me, but that's my thoughts toward him.
She never expected this to happen. She never expected, this kind of outcome from a man that she loved. And she truly did trust him, and she truly did believe in him. And this was gonna be, the man of her dreams, her husband.
The same man is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
What the hell happens with this kid who's a youth leader in his church, an upstanding member of the society, and then what happens that makes him pull out a knife and stab somebody 30-some times? There's no explanation, and you know what? There never will be.
Weeks before her wedding, Bipsy Amirian recognized she was about to marry a man just like her father. Sadly, it was already too late.
She had realized it, and she was going to leave him. He was just a Pharisee like her dad, just a monster with a religious facade. No, her dad was exactly the same, just abusive, controlling, and dangerous. Very dangerous.
Bipsy had had a hard life. She endured the control, the abuse from her father. She escaped with her mother. She created a life for herself that was a free spirit. Her art flourished, her music, her tattoos. And then she thought she found structure with this guy. But it all fell apart because she was choosing her father again. But this time, a deadly version of her father.
Bipsy had done what so few do. She survived an abusive childhood, recovered from a self-destructive downward spiral, and grew to become a spiritually grounded adult with endless love to share with her family and friends.
I wish I could have helped her, and that I love her so much, and that I'll never find anyone like her, and there won't be anybody that can take her place. And that I'm going to see her someday, and I can't wait to see her again.